Hello, everyone, and Happy New Year as we enter 2024. And right now, basically, the markets had a bit of a down day today. Big down day in the NASDAQ, or the triple Qs, if you will, and a slight down day in the small caps, and a decent down day in the SPY, and a flat to positive day in the Dow Jones. But overall, uh, markets were kind of looking for a reason to pull back, and pull back they did. But what's important is to know is that if we're gonna see some follow through tomorrow and start to tag some of our buy levels down here at 460 to 453, and if we're going to be holding these levels, right? If these levels don't hold and we start to really turn into it turns into a complete panic sell off, then yeah, then this may have been the top in an expanded not expanded, an overshooting B wave, right, into an X, and then it will come back down in a Y, right? But right now, what I see for the markets is I'm focusing more on this scenario now, not the super bearish scenario, more this scenario where we would pull back, and this selling up, this selling that we're about to get or potentially get is going to turn out to be a huge buying opportunity into a final wave three, and then a pullback in a 4 and a 5 throughout the year, and then that's going to be we're going to be topping out around 510 to 540. Right, let's take a look at the weekly indicator on the S&P 500 or the SPY. And right now, the weekly printed a new candle. We have a 13, right, and a 0. So actually, very significant change from the bullish numbers that we've been getting, where we had 7s and 2s, 7s and 3s, and 9s and 2s on the dual band strength index. If you don't know the price, how this dual band strength index indicator works, is the price will tend to move, and the number that has this towards the number that has the smallest one between these two numbers, the smallest one tends to usually go towards that one, and the smaller or more negative the number is, the more the price is influenced to move up towards that direction. So when you have a big number, that's tends to means it's strong support, and the bulls are strong on this side, and they're going to be pushing the bears out, right? But if it's the inverse, right, when you have a 17 on top and a -5 on the bottom, then it tends to be that the bears are extremely strong right now, and they're going to push the bulls out, and the price is going to move down. And right now we're starting to see 13 in the 0. So maybe the bears are starting to gain a little bit of strength here. Taking a look at the daily, we did get a little bit of a fall today. You did see some buy the dippers come in near the end of the day, or a little bit of short covering, if you will. They were selling the Nasdaq pretty heavily today, but we'll have to see if we see more fall tomorrow. The 4 hour still has very thick green money flow, right? And we look at the 1 hour, a little bit of a smaller time frame. You have decreasing green money flow here, but you're getting in a little bit of an oversold condition, so you might get a bounce pretty soon. Maybe even you'll get a bounce tomorrow. But the overall, still looking for this wave 2 in the market to play out, and once it does, then I'll be loading up on some long positions with a stop below 453. If we go below there, then you stop out and you wait for the next position, you wait for the next opportunity to present itself, and then you can enter it. Right, so basically, essentially, what we're in right now in the market is in this final 5th wave, and it's going to illustrate itself in a 5-wave move up. Now we're looking for an ABC correction, right? We're looking for something like this, right? That's what we're looking for right now. Could we come back up? Yeah, we very easily could come back up and keep extending this 5th wave, right, until the market's ready. But to do an ABC, but for now, it might do a small B and then come back into C. It could also stretch it out throughout the courses of a couple of weeks, right? It can take some time. It doesn't have to happen all at once. Let's move on. We'll take a look at some individual names here, and we'll take a look at oil and nat gas too. But let me cover ROKU, because ROKU's following our count very, very well right now. So it looks like this could have been the B wave top, and now you're starting to come back down in the final C leg, and it's getting pretty oversold on the RSI. It's not there yet. It's not in extreme oversold conditions or anything. The stock RSI looks like it's going to start to roll over once again. So Roku should be a buy around $78 to $70. I'm probably going to open a position there if we get the opportunity to buy around this area. And on top of that, you have a very nice upsloping trend line, right? So there's going to be a lot of risk on in the market, especially in these smaller cap names. I mean, Roku is not that small of a market cap. It's like $12 billion. But it's not like Microsoft or Apple or anything like that, right? It's a little bit of a smaller tech stock. Yeah, so nothing to complain about there. Let's take a look at StarBucks, right? We'll take a look at StarBucks. StarBucks looks like it actually did, want to finish its final fifth wave. So a fifth of a fifth. So essentially, this was a 5-wave move down, something like this. I think I had mapped it out before, but I'll draw it again. That's not a problem, right? So I do believe this was a 1, and then you had a 2, a 3, 4, and then a 5, right? So now it's actually hitting my buy area. So 93.70 to 92 would be actually very interesting for me to even open a position right around this area. But once we do get our bounce eventually in this market, we should start to come back up towards the 102 zone. And this is a risk reward, considering how far we are. This is a 9% move that we're looking for in StarBucks, and you have another 1.8% down. And if we do go past this level here, you can maybe, if you really want to be a little bit more risk on, you can set your stop, I believe, below this gap fill. There's a gap fill somewhere down here, I think. Just zoom out. There we go. Yeah, so there's a gap fill here. You could put your stop at the gap fill, or if you want to put more risk, you could put it at the previous pivot. But I'm going to stop out of my zone that I have here if we go past it. But do whatever you want, right? Let's move on, and we'll take a look at here. Let me take a look at one more thing. We'll take a look at NVIDIA today, because tech stocks definitely pulled back pretty dramatically. So it looks like this wave 2 is in of a wave 3. So now what should be happening is a significant drop in a wave 3. And we already started to see that, right? We got a 2.73% move today in NVIDIA. Now this should continue. A wave 3 of 3 should be very, very bearish. You should see like consistent selling coming in here. But again, these markets are so bullish right now. Everyone is trying to get in on, they're just trying to buy everything up because they are FOMOing in, right? This is the FOMO happening as we speak, but the markets are very extended. So, fear starting to come back in the market could definitely spook people into start panic selling, right? They were panic buying, and now maybe they're going to start panic selling. But again, I wouldn't buy anywhere near these areas. If anything, I would be looking for short opportunities, and your opportunities were here, right around this previous pivot or this wave 2 that we were coming up in a larger wave 3, right? So that's essentially it. You got to look for those moves, and you got to take them when they present themselves. I don't really have anything for Meta. Let me take a look at Google. Google has made technically a little bit of a higher high, but it hasn't hit my short area. So I think Google still has a little bit more juice in the tank. I think it could go a little bit higher. Once it does go a little bit higher, then yeah, I think maybe once we get there, you can you could take this short opportunity, maybe ride it towards the downside once the markets roll over, right? But if Google holds this previous breakout from the RSI, maybe this is something more bullish presenting itself, and you might not want to get in the way of it. But if it's failing to hold this as support and the RSI breaks back down, yeah, maybe this is going to turn into a bigger sell-off. All right, let's take a look here at oil. We'll cover oil. So oil is now in a 3 of 3. This should be the 3 of 3 move that we're looking for. So if you go into shorter time frames, you can see we had your wave 1 down, and then your wave 2, and now you're in a 3 of 3, right? So now you should see a lot of selling coming in, And sorry, this is like the minute time frame though, so you should see a 3-3 on the minute. So you should see much more selling coming in on oil. After that, when the third wave is in, you can come back in a 4 and then finish it. You finish your fifth of a fifth move, and then you'll be done, right? And then the moves will be essentially done, and the market can start to calm back down, and you can do an accumulation zone, sort of like what natural gas did, right? You'll be in this accumulation phase. And again, nat gas was like this for like the whole year, right? So right now, nat gas is starting to take off a little bit. We had a very nice move today from the previous close. We actually gapped up 6%, and we start to sell off throughout the day because the whole markets were selling off. But if we get more selling coming in here, this could be the beginning of a larger cycle, right? This could be the beginning of a three, a bigger move towards the upside. I know this is way, 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 way high, but nat gas can have these huge moves, right? So don't be surprised if this turns into something like this right here, right? If we start to get a big move like this, right? Your pullback, this pullback that we could get on nat gas, you might not want to miss this one, right? This one could be the one that we would be waiting for and really hoping that we could get. So maybe you'll come back to the 50% retracement if you're lucky, but I would probably look for the 618 to the 668. Once we get there, I would enter a long position with a stop, obviously, because if we do go lower, then you don't want to get caught by nat gas dumping down, because when nat gas dumps, it could get dumped for days and weeks on end. But yeah, overall, very, very bullish on natural gas, looking quite good. Let's take a look at gold. Gold had a down day today because the dollar had an extremely strong day, a big spike up, and I think the yields had a pretty good day as well. So again, this wave, this B wave that we were looking for in the yields and essentially the DXY as well, could be bearish for equities. As you guys could probably tell, we had a little bit of a sell-off. We'll see if we get more tomorrow. And then finally, let me cover one more thing here. Not Bitcoin. Bitcoin, you guys can head over to CryptoMickey for Bitcoin. Actually, let's cover the IWM. So the IWM essentially has not made any new all-time highs or anything like that, but it's had a tremendous rally, right? And now you're starting to see the IWM starting to outperform NASDAQ a little bit. You're seeing some rotation starting to happen. So I wouldn't be too surprised if you start to see the NASDAQ selling off pretty hard, but you don't see the IWM selling off that hard, right? So the IWM can technically still go higher. I don't know if this is, if I would call this finished in terms of a 5-wave move up. You could actually say like this is a 1, 2, 3, and then you're going to come back in 4, and then go even higher in a 5, finish maybe around 220. Right, and then you'll put your top in the B, and then you'll come crashing down with the markets later on, right? So that's also a very good possibility for the Russell 2000. But the small caps were definitely, they made a lower low in the markets, and that it kind of coincided with the bottom of the S&P 500, which this is a long that we took inside the Discord. But unfortunately, we didn't hold it that long. If we would have held it that long, maybe probably wouldn't have been the trade of the year, but took those profits a little bit too soon. So maybe we'll be trailing those stops a little bit more now. But yeah, overall, the Russell 2000 should be coming down in the future. But I might be intrigued into looking for a short-term long, because there's going to be a lot of panic buying. Right, there's going to be panic buying and panic selling, and there's going to be lots of dumb money pushing this market higher. Okay, and if that happens, then you don't want to miss out on it, but you also want to be cautious at the same time, right? You don't want to be buying any willy-nilly company that you see, right? You could long the indexes, use like leverage products if you want to add more risk, but always do that with a grain of salt, right? Don't go in too heavy. Anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and this helped you. Have a wonderful day, guys. Peace.